I do my best to buy as little new as possible because that is the crux of so much of our resource use, our land destruction, waste, energy use, transportation. As a matter of fact, I've seen it estimated that around 60% of global emissions comes from things that we consume. And it accounts for around 50 to 80% of land use. Not to mention material extraction, water use, so on and so on. So as an environmentalist, someone who cares about living sustainably, I don't buy things a lot of the times for those reasons. But there are also quite a few things I don't buy to reduce my waste and in the name of zero waste. And to me, all of those things kind of go together. Like living sustainably has to incorporate reducing your waste, reducing your consumption. To me, it's just always been that. But I feel like the things on this list today are gonna fall into one of those categories. With that being said, I want everyone to be more conscious of the purchases that they are making, and that's the reason I make these sort of videos, because as a person with privilege, as is probably a lot of you watching this video, have a lot of privilege in a lot of different ways, especially people in the global north or the west. So the point of this video is to specifically focus on people who are in a culture of hyper-consumerism and to bring that down. So without further ado, here's a list of things I'm not buying in 2023. And a quick side tangent before we get started, because I always have to do that. I'm posting this video in February because I tried to take January off, per se, of the main channel. I started a lot of new healthy habits. I've changed a lot about my lifestyle, and having more time to be able to do that during January was just really important to me. I was still working, just not forward front facing on this channel, mostly like back end scripting, writing, researching, those sort of things. And it was also my birthday month. So I would have preferred to post this in early January. I honestly thought about making this video just so that I could put this out in early January, but this is still important nonetheless because I've really thought through a lot of my consumer habits, and I hope that this gets you to do the same. Number one, I'm not buying plastic water bottles. If you haven't been watching my channel, if you're new to this video, you should probably hit that subscribe button. But we just shouldn't be buying single-use plastic water bottles. They're incredibly wasteful, resource intensive. It takes about 3 times the amount of water that goes into a plastic water bottle to make the plastic for that water bottle. Plastic is also made of a fossil fuel. It's made of oil, which is a finite resource, and we have to transition away from relying on this finite resource to meet our needs. It's expensive. Like, who is doing that? Why are you doing that? I think a lot of people buy plastic water bottles because they think it is somehow superior and safer for you to drink, but that is just simply not true. And another reason I think a lot of people buy single-use plastic water bottles is because of the taste. They think tap water doesn't taste good, which, hey, since I moved, I no longer have a water softener, and that has been an adjustment. So I decided to get myself a water pitcher, which you can definitely do too. If you don't like the taste of your water, we don't want that to be a reason that you're not drinking enough water, because that is also very important. So since I moved and I don't have my water softener anymore, I have been using this Lark pitcher, which is honestly, this pitcher, you guys.
The woman was too stunned to speak.
The quality and technology of this is so far beyond the other pitchers I've used in my life that I just need to tell you about it, and also thank them for sponsoring this video. But like, you need to know about this. So the Lark pitcher has a 2-step filtration system. The filter is derived from plant-based materials and carbon and removes lead, chlorine, PFAs or PFAS, pesticides, copper, benzene, mercury, pharmaceuticals, VOCs, pesticides, and cadmium, just to name a few. But the coolest part, and to me like what sets this apart, is the second step. It eliminates biocontaminants like bacteria. So if you're in the market for something like this, I highly recommend it. And they also have a water bottle for like on-the-go filtration. If you're not at home with your pitcher, you can just use the water bottle, and it does all of the similar things to make sure your water tastes good, but also to filter out things that our utilities aren't able to. Most of those things that Lark is able to filter out is contributing to the less than ideal taste of your water. So check it out, I'll link it at the top of my description. And you know what, actually, in the spirit of all of us not buying things this year, this pitcher is something that will save you money, reduce your waste, reduce the amount of things you buy in general. So it's a good thing to buy. But if you want one of these water bottles, I have a couple extra ones. If you'll just put in the comments like something you're not buying this year, and I'll pick one and I'll send it out to you guys. Okay, in a similar vein of not buying plastic water bottles, I'm not buying plastic Ziploc baggies. I haven't for so long. But consciously, I use reusable silicone stasher bags. I don't recommend literally any other brand of reusable silicone bag because I've tried so many of them. They're poor quality, they don't last, they get stained. My stasher bags, I literally can put them in the dishwasher and they're wonderful. Without having silicone stasher bags, you probably have something in your house that you could use instead of a single-use Ziploc bag. Plastic containers you already have, to-go containers you already have, Tupperware, all these sort of things that you can use instead of a plastic bag. A lot of the times you could just do that and reduce your waste and reduce the things you're buying. I don't buy paper towels. I don't think I have actually ever bought paper towels since I moved out of my parents' house, maybe with the exception of having to buy some for if Tippy throws up. I don't buy dryer sheets, and that is because they're honestly not great for your clothes. I think they leave a coating on your clothes, but similar to like fabric softener, it can really downgrade your clothes. I also just don't dry my clothes usually. I hang dry them. But if you do use a dryer still like my partner does, reusable wool balls are a great solution to not having to buy things all the time. Eventually will save you money, but will immediately start saving you waste. I will not be buying any pads or tampons because I use reusable period underwear. Honestly, reusables have just made my period so much better and I couldn't recommend them more. Even if you don't buy the period underwear I use, which if you have a question about Thinks and how they were recently in the media, I made a whole response on my TikTok. We don't have to get too deep into that here. But even if you don't use the Thinks that I use, and even if you don't use whatever period underwear I maybe decide to move on from next, you could use a cup. What else do people use? I think those are the two things that people use. How do I know if it's far enough? I will link the period underwear that I've used for years in the description box, and it has a $10 off link if you want to check them out. If you want to join the no buying of pads and tampons club. I won't be buying any razors. One, because we have a reusable safety razor that we will literally be able to use for the rest of our lives. Talk about saving money. Talk about saving waste. Who doesn't love that? But I don't buy razors because I don't shave, if you didn't already know that. And there's been debate on the internet about whether I mean I don't shave here or there or these sort of things. I just don't shave. Okay, that's the answer. I don't buy aluminum foil because I honestly have never really felt the need to have it. I have reusable silicone baking sheets, which I use if we use the air fryer or if we need to like bake something. But other than that, I've just never found like I even need aluminum foil. I think a lot of these things we have in our lives because they're very normal. Like in society, people just buy them and they use them. But if you don't have them and you don't buy them, even if a recipe you're following calls for it, you're like, oh, I'll just skip that. And like, it's barely different than if you had used it. I honestly have just never missed not using it. I don't buy coffee pods, number one, because they're incredibly wasteful. They can't be recycled a lot of the times. But three, because I am terrified of having a addiction to caffeine. And so I don't drink coffee on a daily basis. If I'm gonna make coffee, I need it to be like, I need there to be some sort of barrier. I need to not be able to just pop like a pod into something and push a button, because then I might develop this dependency to caffeine. So that's why I don't buy pods, but I don't think you should either because there are so many ways to make coffee with saving money and reducing your waste that many of my friends on the internet have talked about and I'm sure that you're aware of. I highly recommend you do one of those things instead. I'm not gonna buy any plastic straws, and that might seem like a duh who does that to some people, but it's very common in my family for people to buy and drink out of plastic straws. Over the years, they have changed, which is like the most minor change, you know? But I invited and I'm here for it. But that's one of the things I won't be buying, even though I grew up with people drinking out of plastic straws in their homes all the time, yeah. I did. Cooking oil spray, I don't buy the little like metal canisters of them anymore because I have my reusable Misto, which I love that thing. I've had mine for close to 5 years, I think, and I've never had a problem with it. A lot of people have told me in the comments that they do, so I don't know if I just got lucky and the one I have has held up really well, or if I just use it appropriately, because they're a little bit tricky to like know when to pump them, when not to pump them, when to refill them, all that sort of stuff. But I love mine, and so I don't buy cooking oil sprays. I also don't buy plastic toothbrushes. I actually don't really buy bamboo toothbrushes. I haven't in like over a year because I've been using my wife's Sonicare brush ever since I had to get a tooth removed from having an infection. Fun. And those last forever. Like you can see when a toothbrush head is getting worn, it takes forever. And so I just haven't even had to replace them. I don't buy any plastic dish brushes or sponges, and I actually haven't had to buy a dish brush in, again, years, because the ones I have that are just like made of, I think it's like tapioca fibers and wood, they last forever. I guarantee you, you get one of these brushes, you will not have to buy one for at least a year. And even when you do, it's just a little head that's a replacement, like you pop it in and out, and they're less than $5. Stop buying plastic brushes and sponges. This will last you so much longer. This one is something that I don't buy anymore because of waste specifically, but I don't buy plastic bottles of shampoo. I also don't buy plastic bottles of body wash. We, in this house, use solids for our body wash pretty exclusively. I don't think we have any liquid body wash in this house. We buy from whoever's selling soap at the farmer's market, and we just use that all the time. But as far as shampoos go, I definitely do test out different shampoos all the time because of brands will reach out to me and they'll ask me to test their stuff, or I need to do it for work and like those sort of things, but I never buy it. I usually am gifted it, and that's like a little caveat. But if your job isn't to like talk about sustainability and like advise companies and people on sustainable products, then you won't even have to do that. Shampoo bars are a great option. The shampoo I use comes in an aluminum refillable bottle. Refill shops, if you have them accessible to you, are awesome options. If you do have one shampoo that you're just obsessed with, you can buy it in bulk and it'll be a lot less packaging and it'll save you money. I also just don't buy conditioner because I don't use it. I haven't used it since probably like 2011 when I started having to buy my own products. Once I was able to like afford buying conditioner for myself, I just was like, but why? How is it that my hair is so much better without conditioner over the years? I mean, every time I go to get my hair done, which I get it colored once a year, as you can see, but every person who has touched my hair over the last 3-4 years tells me they can't believe how healthy my hair is for how long it is. And I don't cut it, okay, you guys? I've cut it twice in the last 10 years, I think. So I'm not here to start a conspiracy. I'm just saying, in my personal experience, I stopped using it because it was expensive and my hair is better for it, okay? I kind of have this list going as things I'm not buying because of zero waste, and then talking about things I'm not buying because of consumerism. But since I just talked a little bit about my job and not buying certain products because of my job, something I'm not buying this year because of consumerism is skincare. Let me tell you something we don't need any more of. It's skincare. If I get one more email about a sustainable skincare brand, I'm gonna block the word skincare from my inbox.
Okay.
We need to change the ones that already exist, the huge manufacturers that are using really exploitative ingredients that exploit people along the supply chain, that destroy rainforests to extract those materials. Unless you've got some sort of revolutionary thing, which has been so rare. It's been years since I have found a product where I'm like, oh, that's actually worth like testing and reviewing. Like Do Mighty, they came out with serum bars. That was pretty revolutionary. Haven't seen anything worth me trying since. Okay, we have enough skincare brands. Join the sustainability movement somewhere else, okay? I already have my routine, okay? No more. I also don't buy makeup wipes. Those things are just wasteful, bad at removing makeup, expensive over time, and dumb. And like, they're still very prevalent. If you end up on the makeup side of TikTok, which I did because of some thing that blew up last week with Michaela Nogueira, why am I on makeup TikTok now? Get me off of it. I had to keep pushing, not interested. It's a lot. I do double cleanse, but I also, when I am out of the house, it's like the generic version of a makeup eraser. I bought it from Grove Collaborative because they're a more sustainable brand. I love that thing. It's wonderful, but so I don't buy makeup wipes anymore. I won't be buying kitchen appliances. This is something that I have really stuck to for the last several years. I think millennials really struggle in this area, and I know for me personally, when I came to like really realizing how much consumerism impacts the planet, I stopped buying clothes. I was a huge clothes consumer, and so it was very like eye-opening to me that like I should stop buying clothes. It took another year or so to realize that that applies to everything, Shelby. Okay, we don't give up buying clothes to buy a bunch of kitchen shit. We continue this cycle of this thing is trendy, we buy this thing, it sits around, and it continues, and we just continue extracting things from the planet to make more of these things. And so buying less creates less of a demand because we live in capitalism. And operating under that system, not buying those things is the best way to not add to the demand for the destruction of this planet. I'm also not buying any mass-produced art. I talked about this on the vlog channel. I will try to link that video up here for you if I can remember. But I talked about Madison and mine's journey of trying to buy art for this house. It's hard for me to say this because I'm so scared of saying things and them not like coming true. But the intention of buying this house is it's our forever home. This is where we plan to, if we decide to have a family, this is where we plan to retire. This is where I want to stay right here for as long as I can. And so we decided we want to invest in Austin artists. Like, we want to support their art. We want whatever art we buy for this house to be something that's like good quality, supports an artist, it's handmade. And we went on that journey of discovering that shit's expensive, okay? Art is meant to be something that you connect to and something that you buy because it spoke to you, not just because it looked cool on the rack at TJ Maxx. And so I had to remind myself of that in the last couple months, and mass-produced art is just something I'm not gonna buy. Not only this year, but forever. I don't want to do that. I also don't buy plastic or like non-reusable lighters. We have a few matches for if we ever need to light like a fire when we're having a fire outside or something. But for candles and almost anything else, I use my electric lighter, which is rechargeable. And again, one thing that you have to buy once, and it's already lasted me probably like 3 years, and it just saves money. Just do it. I'm not buying any books. And that's not because I'm not reading. I actually think I want to buy fewer books this year because I am reading. In the past, what would happen to me is I would start out the year saying, I want to read more. I always do that. But this year, it definitely feels like I'm going to stick to it. I've already read, you guys, I've already read 4 books by the end of January. Not physically, I've read 1.5 books physically. I've listened to 3 books, 3 audiobooks this year. Who is she? Like, previously, it was so easy for me to just buy a book with the thought that I would eventually read it. Like, I've done that a lot throughout my life, trying so hard to be the girl who reads, and it never works. Like, I will buy a book, but I don't end up reading it. So this year specifically, my goal is to not buy any books because I don't end up reading them anyway. And I am being much more selective and conscious and forward thinking about what I want to read the next month. But ahead of time, I decided I would make a list. I actually sat down between Christmas and New Year's and made a list of all the books I want to read so that I don't end up walking into a store, buying a book because it looks good, and then never reading it. Now, I have this list of books, and even if one is on hold at the library, I can place that hold in advance and I can go get it from the library so that A, I'm just not buying more things, but B, the books I'm actually checking out are actually getting read, right? But the point is I'm not buying any books this year, even though I'm reading more books this year than I ever have before. Candles, I'm not buying any candles. I did buy a few candles last year, even though I think I wasn't supposed to. But it was fine because they were just like really actually good quality, really nice candles from Etsy. I had 2 3-wick ones that were like, are they 5-wick? They were like this big and they were glass and they were made in vintage glass. So I bought those on Etsy. I bought them in green and brown, and then I bought a really big Christmas tree candle that I'm never gonna light, and the vlog channel hates me for it. Candles are something that, like, when you're feeling down, I feel like is the easiest thing to just go buy a candle and make yourself think that you're gonna feel better. And I don't want to be that person. I've never wanted to be that person. And I think just counting candles out this year is gonna be the thing in my mind that makes me realize that I'm doing it. And just every time I reach for a candle, the answer is no, Shelby, okay? Let me tell you something we don't need any more of. It's candles. This is not for 2023, it's for the rest of 2023, because I already bought several of these things in January, but it's climbing gear. So I talk about this a lot. When people get into new hobbies, it often results in them going and buying a lot of things for said hobby. So one of the things I'm getting into this year is climbing. I'm really bad at it, but I'm excited to see one day when I'm not so bad at it. Just fitness in general, like people can buy a lot of workout gear and equipment for things that they actually haven't set up a system to be usable and like long-term fulfilling for them. I don't think climbing is that for me. I definitely think it's something I'm gonna stick with. The point is, all you really need to go climbing is like a pair of shoes and maybe a chalk bag. And I don't need to start doing this thing where you start a new hobby and you wanna buy all the things for it. I don't need to research what the highest, like best climbers in the world use. I don't need their shoes, I don't need their chalk, I don't need whatever other things they use to strengthen themselves or whatever other gear they use, because my ass can barely climb a level 0. Okay? I don't need all the equipment that the people who climb Mount Everest did. And I would encourage you to do the same thing for any hobbies that you're getting into. Just be a bit more conscious about it, because I think it's easy to end up just overbuying things in that category. Listen, this is so hard for me. I'm not gonna buy things because social media told me to. Yeah, I definitely have been influenced a lot by TikTok this year. Like I said, I wasn't gonna buy the AirPod Maxes and I haven't yet, but I'm this close because I've been borrowing my friends to test them out and I like them. But I would have never even thought about them if I hadn't seen them on social media. And like I said, I love TikTok. I love the communities I'm a part of. I love YouTube. I love this community. I love the other communities that I'm just like a member of. And I don't want to give any of it up, but I need to be much more conscious about the things that I am wanting and where those wants come from. And I think we all could benefit from like really focusing in on that this year. Something else I'm so annoyed by recently is things that are marginally better. So what I mean by that is the Michaela Nogueira fucking drama that my For You page decided I needed to know about. That whole saga just taught me that everyone is constantly looking for the same thing, but like 0.5% better. You've got a mascara that you obviously like and you use on a daily basis and it's good enough for you, but the second marketing tells you that this one is like maybe a little bit better, you need to buy it. It's maddening how often that happens in fast fashion, in fast makeup, in all these sort of things. But I wanted to put it in this video because I really think that that needs to be brought to our attention. How often we buy things because it's maybe like 0.5% better than the thing we already use. Oftentimes leaving the thing we already use unused and wasted. So I'm not buying any of those things. I would encourage you to like think about those things and not buy them either. I'm not gonna buy a new phone or really any new tech. I don't see myself needing, but I'm definitely not gonna buy the new phone this year. So there's that. I'm not buying any bags, purses, or luggage because I use the same backpack all the time and no matter how cute anything is, I don't need it. I accidentally bought a fanny pack for my vacation last summer thinking I was gonna wear it as a fanny pack and then I found out that it was actually trendy if you wore it across your body. And now I've been using that all the time too, but I bought that secondhand and it was a complete accident. But I don't need to buy any bags or luggage this year. And throw pillows. My mom bought me throw pillows for Christmas that I did not need, and I just kind of hate throw pillows, so I threw that one on this list because sometimes they're really cute. A lot of people are making very cute embroidered throw pillows, and sometimes I almost give in, but I don't need to, and so I added it to the list of things I'm not buying this year. Okay, that is a list of things I came up with that I'm not buying in 2023. I would love to hear some things that you would add to this list or some things I forgot, or if you're also not buying any of the things that I mentioned. Also, don't forget to leave a comment if you're not buying something so that you can enter to win, not this. This is a Lark pitcher. You can't have my Lark pitcher because I love this thing. But the Lark water bottle that I have an extra one of, I'll just pick one of you and hopefully have your notifications on so that you see when I comment back to you. It's so hard to do that through the YouTube comments. But that is it. So remember, until next time, you cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that you can do. Bye, guys.